I just wanted to highlight a few trades that have happened. Robert Quinn is now a Philadelphia Eagle, which sucks. But at the same time, hey, you got to go up against Andrew Thomas, so sorry. But the Eagles just keep getting better. And they have so many draft picks that it doesn't matter. They can keep acquiring people up until the trade deadline. They're going all in for the Super Bowl, and then they're set up super well, no pun intended, with two draft picks in the first round next year. So the Eagles, well-run team. Howie Roseman, unfortunately, very, very good at his job.
I was just gonna say it's so funny because I feel like either last year or the year before there was some clamoring for Roseman to be fired because he'd
Yeah,
been there a long time. There had been some kind of sclerosis, sort of like a little bit of stagnance in terms of some of his picks, draft picks. Jalen Rager or
well, that clearly was now in
acquisitions.
hindsight a ownership pick,
Yeah, yeah.
and so everything else
He's
outside,
just
he's just been killing it.
maintained a crazy level of consent. He's almost like the Brian Cashman sort of
Yeah,
of football, just continuing to somehow, some way make really smart and effective personnel decisions. And I mean, adding Robert Quinn, adding one of the most effective pass rushers, even at his age, still one of the most per snap effective pass rushers to that group, to Jordan Davis,
Fletcher
Fletcher
Cox
Cox,
replacing the
Hassan Reddick
right, the
is just
injured.
crazy.
I mean, and they don't even have Brandon Graham,
Right,
who tore his
right.
ACL for the
So to
year.
swap
So
out Brandon Graham for Robert Quinn, you could do a lot worse.
100%. So the Eagles maintain their hold on the NFC and are clearly the top three teams in the NFL. It is one of the weirdest years, and frankly, one of the weakest years in terms of what I felt is a flatter level of competition, or one where anybody could win it at any point. To me, it's one of those three. It's the Eagles, it's the Chiefs, and the Bills. And unless someone emerges, I think the Bengals are starting to look a bit better. But unless someone else emerges, I just don't see them, either of those teams, being out of it anytime soon. And Kadarius Toney, New York Giants wide receiver, who I was hoping against hope would get it together, has been traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a conditional third and a sixth round pick, which is good value for a player that has zero touchdowns and hasn't been unable to stay on the field. He tweeted gloating and saying that he wasn't actually injured, LOL, which was everything that we already suspected. And so this is another instance of Dave Gettleman picks gone wrong, being shipped to the Kansas City Chiefs for draft compensation. DeAndre Baker, another guy who had character concerns going into the draft, just like Kadarius Toney, but Dave Gettleman, who preached culture all the time, took him anyway. Also, was brought up on charges, then traded for, or either cut. I think he was actually cut. Sorry, I should say. But Baker was cut and then signed with the Chiefs, and then it didn't work out there either. But Kadarius Toney actually has elite talent, unlike DeAndre Baker. So
Emma was keeping her powder dry before emptying the chamber on Kadarius Toney.
that's the thing, right? You have a gut instinct about a player, and the way he interacts with the media, he doesn't answer questions. He kind of mocks them every time. And I know some fans like that, but I'm a member of the media, and I
Yeah.
think you should treat the media with respect, unless it's, Pat Leonard and on the New York Giants beat, who's a total clown. You don't need to treat Pat Leonard with respect, but there's some really cool guys on that beat. I follow very closely, like Art Stapleton or Dan Duggan, and
Jordan Raanan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and so they should be treated with respect. And I never, it didn't sit right with me. And then also just he was always had a hamstring. If it wasn't one hamstring, it's the other hamstring. And it's like, dude, how many times are you injuring your hamstring, or do you just want to play Call of Duty and make music?
Well, now he's sort of alluding to the fact that he was not fully honest about how injured he was or how unwilling, incapable he was of playing, at least per a kind of sort of cryptic tweet that
Which
he
he then
had.
deleted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which he
So,
deleted because I guess
but
don't
it's
want
like,
your future employer knowing that you kind of just fake injuries sometimes to get out of doing what you don't want to do.
and it would be one thing, I'd be more sympathetic if this was still the Joe Judge regime, but this is a regime that the rest of the team has bought into. So good job, Dave Gettleman. Thank you for wasting yet another first round pick on players who do not have, who you clearly didn't do your due diligence on.